a lot has been made around the current position of the gaming industry, especially when it comes to the retail side, selling consoles, the pricing on them. It's been very, very weird. I mean, things have been literally turned upside down when it comes to the trends as to where we should be 5 years into this generation when it comes to the price of these consoles. And I think it really opened a lot of people's eyes when we had it laid out for us with a certain chart that showed the trends for each November. And we have to go all the way back to 1995 to find one that's at least even comparable to the amount of hardware units that sold last month in 2025. Well, I wanted to try to put some more of this into context for people when it comes to where we should be in the generation 5 years in by just going back to the last generation. In fact, we don't have to go back that far, 7 years or so, 2025 versus 2018. And that's what we're going to look at here today. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. First, again, I want to make sure everyone's aware. This is the chart that I'm referring to here. This came from Circana. It goes back to 1995 because that's when they started tracking US video game hardware sales. And here's 2025, the little blue bar, and you can see we do indeed have to go all the way back to 1995 to find a comparable. Otherwise, every other year has sold more units. And as you can see, the average selling price kind of separating. I mean, there's a massive gap between how much the average console is selling for right now in the US versus how many units are selling, are moving off of store shelves. And that makes sense. The more expensive these systems get, the harder it's going to be to sell to people for them to justify buying these items that are, I mean, they're entertainment items, right? They're not necessities. It's not food or anything like that. So, yeah, you're gonna have to make some calls there in everyday life of, do I buy this $500 PlayStation 5 or do I put food on the table over the next couple of weeks at this rate? So with that in mind, I did think about this a little bit. I said, okay, 5 years into the generation for the PS4 and the Xbox One from 2013, it'd have been 2018, right? So we kind of launched the line a bit, and that was a very good year in terms of number of units sold when you look at this chart. And even then, the price of console, it was kind of flat right here, wasn't it? It was well under control. So to me, these line up perfectly as, okay, low price on consoles, a bunch of units are going to sell. And I mean, that is what you would expect these platform holders to be looking for, to get more and more of these systems out into the wild. So of course they can take advantage of their digital storefronts where they make a bunch of money off of royalties. All right, great. So when we go 5 years in from now, 2020, that'd be 2025. So we've seen what Black Friday looked like over the last few weeks, of course, that and Cyber Monday. So what did Black Friday look like back in 2018? Well, let's take a look. And I decided to pull up GameStop because they're the most laser focused on gaming, as we'd be looking at here. But keep in mind, Best Buy, Walmart, some others were also running similar deals for this, especially some of the big headlining ones. And we can see here, this is over on, this was actually pulled from the Black Friday archive, as they have a lot of these circular ads still stored from decades ago even. Those are pretty interesting to go back and take a look at, even just to see where we were with the days of the 360 and the PS3. But here we're looking at, of course, the Xbox One and the PS4. 2018, remember, the PS4 Pro was on the market. The Xbox One S was also out there, along with the Xbox One X. So there were a number of choices that you could make when it comes to even the SKU or the variation of devices, similar to now, where we have a PS5 Pro. There is an Xbox Series X that has 2 terabytes and is like $800. So there's choices all over the place. But when you first look at this page, you'll notice the PS4 Slim is one of the big headlining deals, along with Spider-Man. And this would have been 2 months, 2.5 months or so after Spider-Man came out, and it was a good game. I mean, really, remember back then, it was the first time we saw Spider-Man show up with Insomniac. There were still some questions around how it'd be handled, and it was a really good superhero game. And as we're seeing now, got Spider-Man, I'd say, kind of back on track, as Spider-Man was definitely hit or miss there for a while. I think back to the really old days of Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2, and that was incredible stuff. You go back now and you're like, okay, this is there's some nostalgia glasses there for that, but this was a really, really good iteration of Spider-Man, and Insomniac's first outing, I think they did very, very well with it, clearly. But you can see that's the first thing here, that being bundled along with this Xbox One S Minecraft bundle. All right. So, along with that, they do have any of these systems. So, you get a $50 gift card with the purchase of any new Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, or PlayStation 4 system. Now, that they do say here, it does exclude either of these two, the 1 terabyte Slim with the Spider-Man game, and then the same with Minecraft here. But let's go in a little for. Also, they were opening on Thanksgiving at 3 p.m. That's unfortunate. I mean, again, those are the old days. I say old days, 7 years ago, where a lot of these stores were opening earlier and earlier on Thanksgiving, to where the people who worked these shifts, they basically didn't do Thanksgiving at home, because you had to go in even earlier than this at any of these different stores, and it was kind of retail competing with retail, and you got to where some people were just going in at 11 in the morning on Thanksgiving to try to set up here. So they kind of just lose that day completely. But we've kind of rolled away from that, it seems like now, and most places open Friday morning, at this time. So let's take a look though. This was for Nintendo. Yes, there were some deals for Nintendo where it was, yes, I know the Mario Kart 8 bundle. Keep in mind though, this was 2018, and I want to say this was the first time we saw this bundle. I'm trying to remember if it was there in I feel like this was the first time we saw this. So it was a big deal then, and you get a $50 gift card with it as well. And then there were some deals here, which now you can probably find some of these games same price or even cheaper. So the thing with Nintendo is they're not the greatest when it comes to Black Friday at retail stores over the last several years now. But hey, that Mario Kart bundle, tried and true. And this is the section though where I do kind of wish I could go back in time, and I'm mostly looking at this guy right here, the 3DS XL. And I know the new 3DS XL, I know it's it's pre-owned, but still, like, 3DS XL, new 3DS XL, they're all getting more and more expensive now, where the new 3DS XL is crazy expensive. $120. Yeah, I'd probably pick up a couple of those. Even the Wii U, I'm going to do a video at some point soon. $100 on the Wii U with what it's capable of now with the homebrew community. It's crazy stuff. So $100 on that. It's funny looking back on it. You'd be like, "Well, no, just buy a Switch." I don't know. The Wii U is pretty good right now. And then we have the 2DS bundle up here. Not bad though. It comes with Mario Maker, and I did see over on Best Buy the Pokeball, just standalone Pokeball Plus, was I think $20. They marked that down pretty well, and that had Mew in it. So I mean, come on, you had to move a whole truck back in the day to get Mew. Now you just throw $20 at it. Okay, so here was the big deal, and that was Spider-Man 2018 came out 2.5 months prior to this, and a PlayStation 4 Slim 1 terabyte for $200. So think about what we saw recently with Black Friday, where PlayStation had the best deal of the season. And their deal was taking about $100 or so off of the PlayStation 5, depending on the model. And we got back to the original price of the PlayStation 5 digital edition. So instead of it being $500, it was $400, and that's just what it was in 2020. Remember when the PS4 came out, it was $400. The Xbox One was $500. I know the Kinect was in there and there are a few other things with it, but we start at one price and we work our way down throughout the generation. This would have been 5 years in to where we have a PlayStation 4 Slim that it's just better in terms of, like, so for example, it has better Wi-Fi. The cooling is better with it. And it's half the price of what the launch was 5 years prior. And it comes with a game that had just come out, and it's a big, big release for Sony, and they packaged it in. That's just that these were the expectations back then, was to get to this point a few years into the generation. It happened with the PS3, happened with the PS2, happened with the PS4, not happening with the PS5, which is one of the reasons people, especially recently, I'm sure, are looking at some of these deals and are just like, what is going on right now with a lot of this? You also had the Xbox One, as I mentioned. They're not really showing the Minecraft bundle here. The Minecraft bundle was $200 as well, from what I remember, and it was the Xbox One S with Minecraft. Again, good deal compared to what the Xbox One originally launched at $500. You can see we're getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper with this. And the Xbox One S also added HDR. It had a 4K playback, I believe, for Blu-ray. So it had a lot going for it outside of just the Xbox One original system, the larger VCR model. And I did throw in that we had PlayStation VR. So I mean, it was $100 off. Like you get everything here with the Astrobot and stuff. $200 had the camera. They had a few different bundles, but like the Astrobot and Moss, that's probably the bundle to have gone with there. Again, I know VR wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire, but it was just a better deal overall. This though, quietly the best deal. It was like the last page. Check this out. You get a pre-owned Xbox 360 for $0. Yeah, so how this worked was it was going to be $70, which I will say this. If you got an Xbox 360 with the wireless controller that was a the actual authentic Xbox 360 controller, that that might actually be worth it because those controllers, there are a lot of fake ones out there. If you got an authentic one, that might be worth the move. But the $0 thing came in with mail in rebate. So you put out $70 when you go to pick up the system. You do the mail in rebate, which is something that was ongoing for the longest time. And it's funny just to see them even mention it here because they figure people won't do it, obviously. And then they mail you a gift card. I think it's like a Visa card for the amount that you paid for the 360. So if you go through all of that, you can still use that Visa card wherever, and you just got a free Xbox 360 Slim. I probably would have done this back then. Now I'm thinking about it. I didn't clearly back in 2018. But now I'm looking at it with where the 360 is currently with the modding scene that I'll tell you now, there's something else coming down the pipeline, it seems, for the 360. And I'm curious if it also works for the Slim. But we might be getting an actual soft mod soon. So it's to the point where the 360, with how much further it's come with the modding scene again, completely worth picking one up right now, especially at, I mean, $0. But that's just where we are with the gaming industry right now, and it's not shocking that people are looking around like, what is happening when 2018 was not that long ago. It was 7 years ago. It feels like things have changed so much in, you could say, just even 5 years, going back to 2020, just ahead of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series launches. It felt like things were a lot different then versus now. And it really shows that things have just gotten absolutely out of control and crazy when it comes to the economics of this stuff. And no, people are not misremembering how things were even just last generation when it comes to these sales, the pricing trends across the board for these consoles. And people will blame things, of course, like inflation, but the $200 marker doesn't really line up if you even run it through the good old inflation calculator, 2018 versus 2025. But really, a lot of the stuff behind the scenes when it comes to how expensive these systems are getting to manufacture, and now hearing more and more about how it's just going to get more expensive as we go along, it doesn't feel like that the returning to that trend of systems dropping in price even significantly years into the generation is going to be a reality for quite some time. We could be going into a year where all these systems go up in price again, and I don't know what that means for the PlayStation 6 or the next Xbox, other than, hey, get your wallets ready. Or, hey, get your backlog ready. But I just wanted to take a look down memory lane here a bit. Well, again, not that long ago, 2018, and see where we're 5 years into the generation for the PS4 and the Xbox One with some of these deals, especially in November for Black Friday, versus where we were just a few weeks ago in 2025. Let me know what you think, though, guys, down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.